So the number one reason why people don't generate leads is not because they're not generating leads. It's because when they identify interest, they don't know what to do with that interest to turn that interest from market qualified to sales qualified. So they actually go, I got this great lead. What do I do with it? And people either bombard the lead with too much information. More information leads to more objections, or they do nothing with them and they let the lead simmer too long and the lead goes cold. Hey there, expert. Rana Saini here. See, the wealthiest business coaches and consultants see business success as the system. This podcast, The Expert Advantage, contains real-world, in-the-trenches business advice that our clients use to gain a strategic advantage in growing their million-dollar expert business. It's my hope that you use these short lessons and insights to gain your strategic advantage in growing your expert business, and maybe one day soon partner with us at The Expert Project to take your expert coaching and consulting business to $1 million and beyond. I hope you share and enjoy. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about the Chat Accelerator. And the Chat Accelerator is something we're using to literally turn leads into conversations, into calendar bookings. So leads into conversations, into calendar bookings, right? And the goal here, whenever I install this strategy, is to help people understand that when someone says they're interested, it doesn't mean they are committed. Right? Just because someone's interested doesn't mean they're committed. The thing in the middle that people are looking for is some sort of context for your offer. So what we need to do to get context at some point is we need to have a conversation. Now, a conversation can happen by phone, or a conversation can happen via text / email / private message. Okay? And whenever you have a strategy that is a lead gen strategy, often what we want to do from top of the funnel is we want to be able to bring people down into a conversation so we can get to know them. Again, if you'd like a copy of the workbook, just type workbook in the comments and we'll make sure we get you a copy of today's workbook. By the way, if you're watching right now, just say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Just say hi below as well. Let's keep the conversation going. We'd love to get some engagement here, just so it's not just me yabbering on, but I'd love to hear you guys, any questions you have about today's topic. But just if you get a good insight, type it in the chat. So we know that you're getting value. So before we start, whenever you get a prospect come through, one of the things, a great man by the name of Dean Jackson. Dean Jackson goes through what he calls a 5-star prospect checklist. Now, if you ever wanting to get a client, the only way you'll ever get a really good client is if they're a really good prospect first. And a really good prospect has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. The first thing they need to be is they need to be, first and foremost, willing to engage in dialogue, right? If someone says they're interested, but they don't want to talk about their interest, they're not really a great prospect, right? Because you can't actually move the conversation forward in any way, shape, or form. When you are having a chat with them, you've got to make sure that they are friendly and cooperative. A great client is friendly. A great client is cooperative. So therefore, a prospect needs to have at least the basic ingredients to become a great client. Finally, they should know what they want. And by knowing what they want, it means they have answers to the most important questions that you ask to understand if or how you might be able to help them. Fourth, they need to know when they need it. So this is another way for saying urgency needs to be high. If they don't have urgency and they don't have a problem, then you don't have a solution, and then there is no need for the conversation. So really it shuts down the opportunity there and then. So as long as they are 1, willing to engage in dialogue, friendly and cooperative, know what they want, and they know when they need it. The next part is, would you like us to help you? And if they say yes, they check the boxes. So whenever you're talking with someone, remember, the quality of the prospect will often determine the quality of the client. If you don't like the prospect, you're probably not going to like the client. And business business should be fun, and fun comes from the people you work with and choose to work with. So that being said, let's dive in to the offer optimizer, right? If you are going to be chatting with people, about buying your service, you've got to move them from interested to committed. And the way we do it is we look at who our audience is, what we call our perfect future customers. Now, we need to know who they are and where to find them. So the first place we need to find them is we go on to Sales Navigator, right? Sales Navigator on LinkedIn is an amazing B2B database, right? And again, if you'd like help with that, come on over to the 10-day challenge and we'll help you tap into that audience on Sales Navigator. You then need to understand, well, what is the opportunity for them, which really just means, what is your offer? What is the question that you're going to be asking them? So Sales Navigator, then we need to make an offer, which is really just, what is the question that you want to ask? So if I wanted you to come join my 10-day challenge, I might ask you, I'm running a 10-day challenge, would you be interested? If I want you to come to my webinar, I might say, I'm holding a webinar for coaches and consultants on the Chat Accelerator. Would you like to join us? If you are wanting more people to book into your calendar, you might go, I've got a few spots to talk to people about my new case study program, was wondering if you'd be interested in a chat. The quality of your question will determine the quality of your engagement. So it goes from, who are we talking to? What are we offering them, right? How much engagement / interest are we going to get? So interest really is just code for leads. So if I look at this and we roll it around, the first thing that we want to get super clear on is, when I'm clear on who I'm targeting and what I'm offering, if I'm clear, we say clarity, if I'm clear, they're clear. No one can be clearer about your product or your service than you. The level of your clarity will determine the level of their confidence. And confidence leads to, when I know what I'm offering and how I deliver it, right, and how I engage with people, there's a level of certainty, aka confidence, that gets transferred. This comes through in your marketing, it comes through in your conversations, it comes through in the way that you talk about your products, your services. And last but not least, is what it actually allows you to do is show capability inside of what you do. So if I look at it, I go, database, are you clear on what you're offering? Database turns to engagement. If our engagement comes through, we want to look at how certain they are and we are, and how confident we are and they are, which leads to a conversation. And a conversation leads to a sales call, which then determines how capable they feel you are to help them solve the problem that they have. So what we're going to be talking about today is this part here of the triangle, right? So when you get a lead, how do you get someone to get a conversation, right? How do you get someone to book in to a calendar so you can talk to them? Does this make sense, guys? So next step is to look at what we call our tic-tac flow. So we're not going to cover this in too much detail, but inside of our IFS program, what we do is we help build out your engagement strategy across LinkedIn and email to make sure that we optimize a lead message for your audience, right? This is really important because this is the question that you're asking. This is the offer. So what I'd like to do here is make sure that you're clear on what your question is. The question leads to interest. when people say yes and they put their hand up, looks like a cauliflower, but let's just say they put their hand up, hand goes up, which says, pick me, I'm interested. What do you do then? What do you do then? So the number one reason why people don't generate leads is not because they're not generating leads. It's because when they identify interest, they don't know what to do with that interest to turn that interest from market qualified to sales qualified. So they actually go, I got this great lead. What do I do with it? And people either bombard the lead with too much information. More information leads to more objections, or they do nothing with them and they let the lead simmer too long and the lead goes cold. Hey there, expert. So listen, our mission here at the Expert Project is to positively impact the world of other business coaches and consultants just like you. We want to help them make more impact, have more income, and have a positive influence on the world. And see, the only way we can do that is if you've heard something in today's episode that moved you, created an insight, changed your perspective, or gave you an aha moment. All I'd ask you to do is take 10 seconds, rate and review this podcast so together we can help spread the word about this podcast and have a positive influence in someone else's world. Come on, have you ever done that before? You're like, oh, got a lead, what do I do? Right? We either overcomplicate and over-engineer it, so we send them way too much information thinking that if I send them more information, I'll actually get an easier sale, or we don't know how to handle it. So what we recommend inside of the Chat Accelerator is to either, one, pick up the phone, and we have a script for that, but if you have the number and they're interested, pick up the phone, see if or how you can help. Or you can ask a couple of questions. And if we look at this as a qualification funnel, each question should dig a little bit deeper into why they're interested and what they need. So why are they interested and what do they need? That's what we want to find out now. So if someone says, I'm interested, we might go, well, can you tell me a bit more about why you're interested and what you need? That's a really good way to qualify people, right? So we might go, perfect. So the first question that you might have, question number one, could be a very simple, what we call open-ended question. An open-ended question cannot be answered with a yes or a no. So it might be like, hey, name, great, got your message, or saw you were interested in, and then you might ask a question in relation to your offer. So if it's about sales, you might say, how many sales calls do you get per week at the moment? If it's about leads, how many leads are you generating at the moment on LinkedIn, or how many leads do you get through your Facebook ads? If it's a website, how many leads do you get through your website at the moment? If it's about culture or team, how many team do you have at the moment? How many clients are you working with at the moment? What is a question that gets them to answer and give you information that you can use to verify if or how you can help? The second part is you use the open-ended question and you say, and then you want to verify. Open-ended question, verify value. So would a few more leads help? Would knowing how to generate a few more leads per day be of help? So this is where it's not a yes or no question. It's a closed question. So this is open. This is closed. You want a yes or a no at this point. So if I said, how many leads do you generate on LinkedIn at the moment? And you say, not enough. And I go, great. Would learning how to generate a few leads per day via LinkedIn be of help? They go, yes, of course. Perfect. So now I know why they like, I know a bit about why, and I know a little bit about what. And my next thing is to then say, okay, well, next step is to, and then you direct. Open-ended question, verify value, direct the interest. Right? And direct the interest is to a calendar. A calendar. right? None of this back and forth, bits and pieces, back and forth, back and forth. You don't want back and forth, tick-tack, tick-tack, tick-tack with people where it's like, I've got tomorrow at 9 o'clock open. I've got tomorrow at 10 o'clock open. Well, I'm not busy. I'm not. Give them an invitation. And what you do is a calendar should be done by an invitation. So an invitation might be like, to make things easier, name, here is a link to my calendar. Find a time, excuse me, find a time that best suits you, and let me know how you go. And then you put your calendar link in, and then if you don't hear from them, you might follow up the next day, go, hey, name, how did you go with finding a booking? The thing is, you want to invite them to take action, and that's how you get people into your calendar, right? So quality of your offer will determine the quality of engagement, offer, engagement, which determines the quality of the action. So these are the things we're optimizing for. And once you get your formula, your tic-tac-flow formula down, this is something you can give to a virtual assistant, you can give to your team, and you can literally book calls in, because 80% of the questions that you have to ask and answer will be the same. And as you're getting that cadence, as you're getting that interest churning through, you have a process. Profit loves a process, and that process can be scaled, right? Once you know what the questions are that you ask, once you know what the answers are that they give, you can scale that, systemize that, and produce it. Now, a really easy way here to do it is I've given you guys some open-ended question formulas, right? This is just a bit of value add for you guys, but basically it's anchoring the topic, finding the problem, looking at the reality check. And the thing is, you might say, have you used LinkedIn before? Have you used this software before? Have you ever tried this system? Have you ever tried this framework? How many XYZ do you have? These are great open-ended questions. Then the next one, where I talk about, like I said to you, we've got to, let's dive back here, verify value. You might say, would an X make a difference for you right now? What has been the main challenge for you right now? What has stopped you so far? The other thing is you can find out how satisfied are you with? These are all great open-ended questions. And then also we can use some of these to verify value. And once you've done it, escalate the conversation to the calendar. Great. I'd love to have a chat with you. How about we have a chat? Here's a link to my calendar. Let me know how you go with finding a time. Look forward to chatting soon. And I've got some examples of how this can work, right? And so what this all comes back to is the basics of your marketing. Now, when I look at LinkedIn, it's not about generating. I often say to people, it's not how many leads you get, but it's how many offers you make, which really is how many questions are you asking per day. So if someone says to me, well, Ron, I need more leads. Well, you need more leads. You need more leads. Ask more questions. When you ask more questions, you create more conversations. When you have more conversations, you can make more calendar bookings, right? And before you ever get a conversion, the precursor to a conversion is a conversation. So guys, listen, this has been a small training on the Chat Accelerator. If you'd like a copy of the workbook, just hashtag workbook, and we'll get you a copy of this workbook so you can see the examples and build your own Chat Accelerator formula. And if for those of you who are looking to take the next step, why not join us for our upcoming challenge where we can actually work with you hands-on, live with me and my team to make sure that we give you what we call minimum viable marketing hacks to turn your LinkedIn profile, the leads in front of you, the connections, the database in front of you into conversations and clients. Let's get some wins.